This broadcast is inappropriate for all ages, right here on the Watch Spot. I am Kamurai, here to talk about things and stuff we've been watching this week, or that I've been watching this week, if you will. Of course, let's start with our full screen family with Rooster Teeth. I actually forgot to watch the RTA. RTAs are one of my favorite things because it's really the highlights of the RT podcast. It's really one of my favorite things that Rooster Teeth has ever done is just jackasses sitting around and talking and having conversations. It's amazing how much I like podcasts. It really is. So I'm going to talk about some of the other ones I've been watching, but that's really my favorite because it's really the one where they let loose the most. I think they've got a couple recurring things, gimmicks that they do, but it's really like that's the point of it, is to talk and have a conversation. It's not even about video games. Like even like back when it was the Drunk Tank, they barely, I say barely, but they didn't really talk about video games super heavy. They didn't talk about news. They talked about what was relevant in their life, which linked to video games quite heavily. But I'm really enjoying it even nowadays, and I'm going back and I'm listening to all the old ones. I tried to start at the beginning, but the availability of them of the video podcasts is a little sparse in the beginning. I think like around like 180 or something is where they start trying, and then there's just not a lot of good copy out there. And then the Rooster Teeths are all backwards, all their playlists, which makes them useless. There's no point in having playlists on YouTube that are in reverse order. I don't understand why they don't get it. The only thing that should be in reverse order is the feed. Every other playlist should play in chronological order. You look retarded, YouTube. Okay, moving on. On the Spot Halloween edition. I know this is not a great selling point, but Barbara actually did the whole thing under a sheet. Like, from a marketing standpoint, I just think that's kind of poor to take your most attractive female cast member and hide her attractiveness. But we got a lot of comedy out from her in general with her words and through the sheet, and she actually used it really well. But it was her and Lindsay, and they kind of creamed... who was it on the other side? No, wait. I don't remember. No, it was Lindsay and one of the animators dressed up as Sexy Snow White, I think. Yeah, that's right, because they got to draw on each other. And then Barbara, I think Meg, I don't know. It was an all-female thing. They do this from time to time. I think it's fine. I think it's great. But I'd like to see them mixed in a little bit more in general, and like I think Barbara comes in and does it. Lindsay's done it a few times. I think she's actually come in and teamed up with Michael, which I always think is cute. But like there should be a proper rotation. But the way anything works at Rooster Teeth is they look at who's available and they use them. Of course, there's probably like some priority on who they want to do what, but whatever. And then when Funhouse is there, they use Funhouse, and they did the sports ball one, which is the only podcast of theirs I'm not gonna pay attention to. Now, in Colton's variety show, like, I think the magic wore off. I just don't like those sort of things. I don't know why I watched the entire first season of Best Time Ever with Neil Patrick Harris. Maybe just because it was Neil Patrick Harris, or that it was just strictly formatted. I don't know. I think it's an exception to the rule. I tried with RTES, yeah, but I don't know. It just didn't strike me, and it's fine. Plenty of people are going to support that show. I don't feel bad not watching that one. Okay, moving on to Ruby. Ruby started out strong. We're starting in the tournament, so we got a lot of action fighting. We started kind of intense in the first episode. In the second episode, we get a little goofy and funny. We were showing more personality. I think the way that's definitely going to go is we're going to have a lot of fighting here at the beginning so that it can swell real quick, and then they're going to slide it off and transition into a lot of personal, conversational type things, and probably some more espionage style of things, so that when we build up to the big battle later in the season, because we know that's going to happen, the war is going to hit, whether it be against terrorists or actual foreign enemy. So that has to matter when it happens. You can't just keep up uh, the stimulus the entire time. So it requires that transition in writing. That rise and fall of cadence is actually very important. And I think they've got that covered. I have very good confidence in them that they'll be able to do their thing. So good though, really enjoying it. Sorry Monty that you can't see it where it's at. He's been showing up on the podcast lately, so like he's been kind of in my mind a little bit more than usual. I hate to say it. Um, for the patch, um, like I like when Meg's not on there because I think it was Gus, Ashley, and Ryan. And Ryan's on there on like he is so torn between the No and Achievement Hunter, and Achievement Hunter guys don't appreciate it at all. So I'm really curious, kind of like what's gonna happen with that, because right now he's living the double life, but I don't know. I like Ryan, so he can do whatever he wants. Not like I can stop any of them doing anything, anyways. Patch Game Club, you must build a boat. I feel like this is a long time to like. I should be talking about that over on Play Spot. It just didn't sound that interesting. I'm trying to remember if there's any patch news. I know Fallout 4 is coming out. It's just a good time talking, and one of the things that bothered me about like the patch, like occasionally we'd mix it up, we get more Achievement Hunter on there, but whenever we got Achievement Hunter on there, they'd just take it over and derail it. It would literally just be like people crashing a party, and like we're supposed to have like a couple acapella groups or whatever, and then they just bring their own amps and guitars and start rocking out. And it's fine, it's good times, but like I clicked on a thing to get the patch, and then I got Achievement Hunter podcast, which now is officially a thing. Episode 1 of Achievement Hunter podcast, Off Topic, has released to the public. It is on... Oh no, I take that back. It is not. It's sponsor only. I watched it on theroosterteeth.com. Now, they do have an amazing set. I don't know how the taps in the background work or whatever. They've got like a little weird TV there. I like the patch set, sort of. It's a little fancy. I like a lot of my artistic stuff kind of plain for my personal choices, but I know other people don't, so I know that set's going to go over really well, and I know that they're going to try to bring the other sets up to par, and I don't know if they're going to have bars in them or not, but I think they may actually start taking that into account, because that's part of their thing, and whatever. So there's that. Okay, I went through and I was trying to find stuff while I was getting ready this morning and troubleshooting a computer. Why Patreon? Why? And I saw Slow Mo Guy, so I clicked on it, and I think it was because it was Go-Gurt. Like I was trying to figure out what they were doing with the Go-Gurt, and they were just smashing a lot of them because it was a sponsor video. But the one that really took me, and I was like, you definitely should check this out if you get a chance, is where they were swinging a tennis racket at Jello. It looks amazing in slow motion because once the string hits the Jello, it separates it into its own little strings. And those little strings move about as if they were on their own, and it looks amazing. You can't describe it. I mean, it's like someone throw a water balloon at you, and then all of a sudden it turns into a bunch of eels. It's really cool looking. Definitely should check that out. Happy Hour. Seen the Griffin family and the I can't remember Michael's last name. I just remember Tuggy for whatever reason. Jones, the Joneses, share in some like pig and sheep brains. I don't know why that was a thing they were doing. They put a lot of effort into like cracking the skull open to get at the brains. What was really funny is that like their daughter was the one that got all into it, so that was pretty funny. Definitely, when you check out Happy Hour is an interesting show. It's I don't really talk about it that often because it's like normally it's just them being drunk and stupid, and it's really hit or miss. But I think generally they pick good, decent videos for it. I've been trying to watch through Let's Play because of Halo 5. But I've been in such a finicky mood this week. It's like normally I watch a video of a gameplay or something while I'm at work for lunch. It's like I'll just throw it on, I'll eat, and then by the time I'm done eating, it's over. But other than Halo 5, and they talk over everything. They kill each other. They're not good at playing the Let's Play, but it's them and their personalities and how they do things. So it's one of those things you're supposed to know what you're getting when you do it. So I think I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again to get the story out of it, because I'm not fucking playing it because it's not available on PC. Not doing consoles anymore. I will not buy an Xbox One. I will not buy a PS4 while they are so expensive. I still have mixed feelings about buying that PS3, but I bought it for two $15 games. So it was a ridiculous purchase in the first place. But I'm really glad I got to play those games. I don't know. Mixed feelings. And then Buff Buddies is supposed to be a new thing that Rooster Teeth is doing soon. It's Josh Flanagan, Meg Turney, and Zach. I cannot remember his last name, but he's the guy with cystic fibrosis. So they're all supposed to be doing documented workout routines to try to get themselves in better shape. Meg, like, I'm just gonna be honest for a minute. Like, I know I don't really like Meg. I don't have the nicest things to say about her. But let's not, dude. She's a statistically attractive woman. She's got a pretty good body. Now, having that and maintaining that and keeping that over time, like, that's got to be an effort. So they're actually got a really good demographic here. You've got someone who is statistically overweight. You've got someone who's statistically, like, on the line, and you've got someone who's actually disabled. So if all three of them are working together to try to get things going on, when you add Blaine in the mix, who is definitely in the good realm, let's call it, it's actually it should be pretty interesting. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. Moving over to Geek and Sundry, Co-optude, Rocket League. I do understand this game. It was fun to see Marzipan and Ryan Day play one-on-one for it. But I really feel like Marzipan needs someone to play off of. I like her. She's just a little submissive on camera, which is a really weird thing to say about somebody. And Ryan's very dominant, let's call it. But, like, so is Felicia. So when they're on there, they're constantly battling each other for different things, and it has a very different chemistry. I feel like Ryan has to try to be nicer to Marzipan, and unless they're actually secretly dating or something, I don't know what chemistry they would have. They're just two people that were told to sit on a couch and play games together, and that could be fine. But for entertainment purposes and not game purposes, it's interesting. I do like that they stopped doing that fucking tilt. It used to be like they would do a square on this side, and then they would go over here, and then they would tilt. And it would make me nauseous, and I fucking hated it. I'm glad they stopped doing that. Fucking co-optude. But I'm interested to see where it goes. LARPs! LARPs is so interesting. Now, this was a really weird episode because it's atypical of how they've done things, and I don't know if there was a scheduling thing that they had to do, or if they specifically wanted to explore retconning or people's perception of things. But they essentially had a 4-minute episode that they went back and they told like 3 or 4 times from different people's perspectives. And they vary from taking like 1 minute to retell to 6 minutes to retell. And it's really interesting to see that and see what the perspectives of all the characters are on all the others. And if it makes you feel good, they're sitting around in a hot tub, so there's some skin and everything. Though they didn't show one person. They didn't show the 2 people that I would have picked right off the bat for them to show. And they kind of hid one person, and I'm really glad, I'll just say it, that they showcased Corellia on camera in her swimsuit. Now, it's a 2-piece, but it's like a top, bottom one. I don't know why I'm talking about this, honestly, but for positive body images for women in I was going to say cinema, but in entertainment, like, I was like, oh, she looks great. I don't give a shit. And she's not stereotypical, like, thin. She's not pudgy, but she's thick. Like, and that's great. Like there's nothing that looks bad about her, but she's not typical, and I like that they went that way, and that was the one person that they really kind of showcased in their swimwear. Um, and she's cute as hell, anyways. Like as far as I'm concerned, they didn't have to do that for me to see that. But I like the spin that it puts out there available, because someone's going to talk about that, and it's going to take effort, I think, to spin it super negative. Like there's going to be people who are like, oh damn, she's hot, or like they're going to be bad people making fun of it just because they're assholes. But it's going to be super easy to spin positive, be like, look, that's what women look like. It's what women look like. Get over it. Fucking Hollywood's perception is not the standard. The standard's the standard, and I don't know. Sometimes you gotta adjust on that. Okay, get off my pedestal a little bit. Critical Role is still going. They're so many episodes from whenever ago. And it looks like Titan's Grave stopped at episode 10. So if I ever get my crap together, I'll get caught up on things. And I'm so picky about how I watch it, because I want to make sure that I can sit down and get it all in at once. And I've got to get Bad Summaries caught up on War and Scarlet, Dominions of Eslan now, and Twilight Chorus. So I'm tired just thinking about it. But of course, that brings us to the Weirdlings. Heroes of Awesome now have a Patreon. If you go over to patreon.com/Heroes of Awesome, you can donate and join in for that. We apparently got it just in time, as they needed to replace some hardware and to recover some files to get Shadow of Doom finished, and I'm really glad we were able to do that, because if it was gone, it's gone. And apparently they need to back up their stuff. I'd be happy to give them server space, but I don't know. We're not that close, I guess. And then Dominion of Eslan got weird because I started troubleshooting something towards the end of it, so I missed it. I don't even know what the show title's called. Oh, yeah, it's the last week, or last day for their shirts, too. I've got 2 Heroes of Awesome shirts. I pre-ordered a third one. Hopefully, that one will just be a matte black instead, because I've got red and, like, a charcoal gray, I think. Okay, so moving on, because they're doing really good. They were fighting ghouls and stuff. Fem Service is a podcast Shannon and Danielle do. Like, the title gets me sometimes, but it's really good content. And I like the perceptions they take, and why would they not do what they want to do with it. So that's why it's titled and why it's given the perspective that it is. Danielle did a makeup tutorial that she actually told me about ahead of time, and I forgot. I was like, oh, she's replaced Mika's old stuff. And I like, when she started doing the lips for the tendrils, I totally lost it. I was like, wait, this isn't good at all. But it actually turned out to be a really good Halloween makeup tutorial, and not just a standard makeup tutorial. It was funny. Shannon's got some skills. She released like a little music video. Really liked what she did there. She's got a couple music-y friends, and I really like that they teamed up and did it like that. And really looking forward to her putting out more stuff like that. It's just a matter of how you consume music these days, and if you can do silly little music videos like that for all your stuff, I am definitely more willing to watch it. Because that's just in my head where music is these days. And my cat's found something. I'm really hoping the lizard didn't wander in, because that is a lot of cats hunting. Wow, okay. Mary's got board game stuff. Love Mary. Always happy to hear board game stuff from her. Need to work on how to work that. Danny Danger talking about comics, and Sammy's talking about shows. I feel... Okay, so this is why I even wrote this down. I've started in pre-show notes. I don't have time to read comics. I just don't. I would be reading Walking Dead if I did, I'd probably still wait for the trade paperbacks, but I don't have time, like, and I don't enjoy them enough for the time they take, I don't think, because I know I could be doing other things. Um, and maybe I should invest in some trades to, like, for toilet reading or something, I don't know. But just with my phone and everything, and maybe getting the comics digitally on my phone would be a way to go. But I don't know. It's a world that I'm interested in, and that I was part of for quite some time. Well, not quite some time, for enough of amount of time. Uh, so every time she puts out a video, it's like, oh, I want to listen to hear all the things you have to say, and I want to have opinions, but I feel like I'm separated from that world so much. And then Sammy does comics too. She's been talking about the shows for the Weirdlings more than comics. And she is covering the shows that I don't give a shit about. I don't give a shit about Gotham. It's like, let's have Batman, but no Batman. It's like it's always been said that, like, the villains are the more interesting part of the Batman universe. But they're interesting because they have this grandiose thing with Batman. You can't have that grandiose thing without Batman there. You can't do it before he shows up, and ruin the future timeline. This is what they don't understand about creating a cinematic universe in conjunction with a comic book universe. If the comics weren't so fucked up, I'd just be like, it should be exactly like the comics. But the comics are so screwed up that it allows for the shows to do this, and that's how I feel about it. But yeah, Gotham just is not interesting to me at all, and I know we've fast forwarded some because they're rotating through villains because they're like, oh, what do we do next? And it's gonna run to zero faster than not, and then they're gonna look back and be like, okay, look, here's all the mistakes we made. Here's what everyone's complaining about. So when we do whatever we do next time, we won't do these things. And there's all this learning curve that people are building into these shows, and it's really irritating because it's all been done before. All that learning curve has already been established in other shows that aren't comic books. Just fucking do it right, and don't worry about your numbers. If you put out a quality product, they're going to watch it. And then if you put out a quality product, they're going to tell their friends about it. If you put out a shitty product that just has a name brand on it, people are going to notice it, they're going to tune in to watch it, and they're going to go, oh, this is fucking shitty. And they're probably going to turn it off after a couple shows. I don't know. I would bitch more, but then all you idiots like Transformers, so YouTube, other podcasts that I enjoy. Kind of funny games. P.S. I love you, XOXO. Kind of funny guys. I like them personalities. They're good, entertaining folk. Colin's my favorite by far. And if you just want goofy, funny guys, the other guys are good too. But, like, he's the only one that, like, I tend to relate to when it comes to anything serious or technical. And when they play games, like, he's always the straight man. And that's what I enjoy about watching, like, walkthroughs like that, is that. And then when it comes, like, to Nick and Tim tries to play straight man, and he doesn't do it very well because it's not a natural fit for him, and that's fine. But Nick plays a great goofball, so if they were just being goofballs together more so, and then, like, maybe have somebody rein them in. I think Colin Moriarty is a vital part of Kind of Funny. Alright, moving on, because we need to get out of YouTube. YouTube Red has launched. It's the ad-free subscription thing, and I have started my free trial for that. So we're going to see how it goes over the next month. And it's only $10, so if I forget to turn it off at the end of it, not a big deal. However, it will be the following month that becomes important. Because the first month that it's available, everyone signs up for it, they can do their free trial. Okay, so these are the amount of people that are interested in it. We go to the next month and be like, oh, these are the amount of people that either are interested or forgot to turn it off. Then we go to the next month and it's like, these are the number of people who paid $10 for this and are willing to pay another $10 for it to continue. And that's going to be their vital number. And I don't know if I'm going to be part of that or not. I don't know. Um, okay, let's go over to Netflix real quick, talk about some kick-ass movies, and then we'll jump back to series. The Lazarus Effect. I think it has Olivia Munn in it. Maybe I've got the wrong Olivia. Maybe it's Olivia Wilde. Oh, I can't remember. Um, this is a badass movie. Like it really plays with sci-fi versus spiritual possession or whatever. Because the whole thing is like, can we revitalize things? It's like it's very. It reminds me a lot of like playing with the T virus in Resident Evil. Um, Olivia Wilde. I was yeah, it's Olivia Wilde. So oh man, like the whole thing is that they bring a dog back from the dead using this serum or whatever. Um, so like from a science perspective, it's like yay, we brought it back. But is it the same dog? Does he remember anything? He doesn't have the same responses. He uh, this that. He's very aggressive. Some things are unexplainable, and then an accident happens, and they end up bringing a person back. Now, a person can relate to you a little bit better verbally, elsewise, and that's where it gets interesting. Because the descriptions of what's happening remind me a lot of Event Horizon. It's very much like you don't understand what is happening to me. Here's this. And there's just this great situation to deal with because it's really, how do I say it? I was actually looking for a movie that did this, and I didn't know that this was going to be that movie, so it was such a nice relief to find it. Because a lot of like horror movies or whatever, there's like, oh, there's a guy, he's definitely after us. It's very rarely that like someone's just tainted or filled with corruption and then turns on everybody, and the other characters don't know it immediately. So someone killing them from the inside, essentially. So it adds like a murder mystery effect to it as well. It's super interesting. I definitely recommend Lazarus Effect if you can stomach murder and killing and stuff. Another one I recommend with a caveat. I heard this in some podcast. Somebody was talking about it, and what got me to look this up was, isn't this the one where that lady falls in love with a 10-year-old? And I was like, okay, that's so fucked up. I've got to go see what they're talking about. So I found the movie. It's called Me and You and Everyone We Know. And it's all about, like, like that moment in, like, divorce or when people break up and they're like, well, this was definitely the wrong path. It's like watching everybody have that moment, but in, like, different ages of life. You've got like 30 or 40, you've got like a 10-year-old, you've got a like 15 or so year old, you've got someone else who's probably a little younger, like in their 20s or something, and it's super dynamic because there's probably 3 or 4 characters that we care about. There's a lady, there's a dad, there's his 2 sons. Those are what I would call the main characters. But even the ex-wife, and like there's all these other little people that have interlocking storylines. I mean, there's the neighbor girl. There's these 2 girls at the bus stop. There's the coworker, and they do such a good job of writing these so that they interweave. But it's not overly complicated. It's really nicely done job. The and the 10-year-old's plot is probably the worst because his older brother gets into like going in chat rooms. I don't know why that's still a thing. And they start like sexing with people or whatever. And the 10-year-old's explanation of like sex or whatever is like the most precious, horrible thing ever. And I'm not even gonna spoil it. Go watch it, and just know there's a graphic warning with. It's so funny, it really is. Oh, I don't even know why I left it on the list. Happy Christmas is apparently an Anna Kendrick movie, with her and her sister, and I looked it up earlier, and I don't remember what it's about, but I know I started it and turned it off. So either I recognized something and went, oh, I don't want to watch this again, which is very possible because I watch a lot of stuff, or it wasn't what I thought it was. I think I was looking. I wanted to find Surviving Christmas, the Ben Affleck, Christina Applegate one, and I could not find it because I was looking for a nostalgic feel-good movie, and that came to mind for whatever reason. So I found Click instead because for whatever reason I can watch Click on repeat. It's really weird. I mean, Christopher Walken's good. Kate Beckinsale's great. Adam Sandler's really good in like these more serious roles, even if he's being a goofy ass. You've got Rob Schneider in another other race role or whatever. He like they do such a good job of his makeup. It's like it's actually hard to tell it's him, but they play it up really well. And Click actually has some great effects. There's like freeze effects, some of the fast forwarding stuff. I don't know why they did this stuff with the dog, but and then they get into like just these nice technology type things, and they really put the effort into the movie. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a good movie. People knock on Adam Sandler flicks, but I think Click is definitely in the top half. Now, in fairness, I would probably put his more famous movies, Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. As much I kind of like Happy Gilmore. I'd say that it's the top of the bottom. But Pixels, what's the other one? Fuck. There's like three, like Billy Madison, something, and Happy Gilmore. And of course, that's where his production company came from, was Happy Madison. But like you go to like Punch Drunk Love, Rain Over Me, Click, or Spanglish, which I rewatched, which I initially bypassed to watch Click, and then Spanglish came back up. I was like, why not? I haven't seen this in a while. It's super interesting movie. The woman learns another language almost fluently during the movie, which is supposed to take over like a month or 2 months tops. Really amazing to see that, because if I had to learn a language somewhat fluently, like I don't know if I could do it in 2 months. I think if I was living there and I was the only person who spoke English, yeah. But like when you have options, it's easy to lean on that and not put in the extra effort. And then Corpse Bride came on because it did. I'm not afraid to say I clicked on it. I was feeling it, but I didn't want to watch Nightmare because I didn't want to have those feelings. I really love Nightmare, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to save it for when I was feeling better. And Corpse Bride is like a poor man's Nightmare. I think that's fair to say. And the animation's so amazing. And seeing like the dead, what they do with that is really interesting as well. And then like the even the blandness of like real life, and seeing the dead being all bright and animated, really really beautiful juxtaposition there. And I really liked it. I'm not saying it's the best movie, but anytime they do stop animation, anyone puts the effort into doing stop animation, fuck, you gotta respect it. And it'll make you feel. So okay, and then Brain Games. I don't know why I felt like this, but Neil Patrick Harris was a delightful surprise for season 1. It's all about like investigating magic and illusions, perspective. If you ever want to do cinematography or graphic design or magic, or steal from people, it's actually a really good resource to look through and note some things, especially about attention. Because I mean, like, there's like the whole thing about like we're looking at my hand the whole time until this hits you in the face. Like even there's applications to a lot of different things, because it's all about life. And in martial arts, like that's a big thing, is like paying attention to the entirety of the picture. When we're really not built to do that in theory. But if you can pay attention to the important bits, you can predict the rest. And that's actually how our brains work. Like when you are looking at this image, you don't have a complete image. Your brain actually fills a lot of it in, and that's where some of our retention problems come in. Is that things are happening in our blind, and because our brain's not expecting it, they don't see that brick flying at you while it's in your blind until it gets close enough that it's not in your blind, and your brain goes, "Oh, that's a brick," and then you have to deal with it. Oh, okay. Nothing much on Amazon Prime. And I say that, like, I've said that for a while. I just really haven't been trying. Like, there's plenty of crap that I gotta get caught up on, to include this never-ending list of anime that I want to knock down. If I could just get my Hulu queue under 100 right now, I'd be happy. Two Broke Girls still on hiatus. Big Bang Theory, I didn't see an episode come out this week, so they may be doing their thing where they switch back to Thursday. Angel from Hell got delayed till February. Elementary, I don't think they're going to do a season 4. I think they're just sitting it on the website to sit there. I was actually looking forward to Life in Pieces, and I didn't get an episode of that either. Mom's supposed to come back next week, I think, so that'll be something to talk about for CBS. The Odd Couple, you know what, I'll be honest, I didn't actually look at that one. I really want to see them do a season 2 of this, but I don't know if it's in the cards. Because I don't know enough about the Odd Couple, the previous Odd Couple. But I would say since they hooked up and he got the girl, I would say that the series is over. But that's just educated guessing. That's under nothing other than real conjecture. Supergirl is coming strong. You know what? Like, I made this really uncomfortable analogy to myself earlier. And because it's my show, I'm going to go ahead and share that. I just wanted to preface that. Like, I know women can have multiple orgasms, and it's a very female-driven show. But normally, I think I would use the expression they may have shot their wad too soon. But I'm hoping that there's some regenerative cycling to the story. They threw so much at this so quick. I was so happy with the first episode because it's like, oh, they kept enough to make her interesting. She's not just going to be Superman, the most boring character ever of all time. She's actually going to be a person, and we're going to see her actually have to deal with things and not just be amazing all the time. And then, for some reason, episode 2 starts in as if it's Man of Steel, and I don't understand why we went there so fast. Now, I don't have the rest of the season in front of me, and so maybe it will make sense later on, but having other Kryptonians fight her this quickly, I don't care if I'm spoiling shit, this is important. Having her fight other Kryptonians this early is insane, not to mention that certain tech got away out of their hands, and that that Commander is actually an alien. Now, it wouldn't make any sense that he's from the prison. It just wouldn't. But I'm sure they're gonna find a way to make it make sense because they're gonna retcon all this shit anyways. The whole thing with her being older than her cousin who's older than her is enough of a weird block. I like the idea because I did have the thought too that like, hey, she's not doing a lot of like small things, she's going really big really fast, but I was looking forward to that because she's a smart character, and I was looking forward to her being able to take on these big problems, even if she doesn't have like the ice breath down. Like, you've got to practice your skills. I'm all for that, and this show makes a lot of points of that. Is like that she's not ready, she's got things to go, and it's a huge setup for other things, and that's the good part. That's the interesting part. The part where we reveal Kryptonians and have her fight them right away. That part is not so great to me. It's very confusing, if I'm being honest. And then, like, I don't understand why you would try to pull a boat uh, when they're designed to be pushed. Like, why wouldn't you push the boat? Um, just that was that one. And then if the plane's still in the bay, just get the plane out. Like, there, I don't know. If you've got these powers and you feel obligated and you feel bad about collateral damage, take care of it. No, we're on gaming division. I'm gonna have to port this over. Great, fantastic. I'm amazing. So that's why it still says offline. I will get better about that eventually. So that's CBS. Okay, moving on. Best time ever had this last episode of the season. So go Neil. I don't know why it's ended so soon, but I expect that he will have another season coming up. I don't think that it's just gonna be dead unless they gave away too many prizes. They gave away a lot of stuff. iZombie, I was gonna try to do this without the history cues this week, but I think it's too many things on Hulu. I don't think I can get away with it. Because I don't even remember. Oh, it's Cowgirls Get the Blues. Super interesting one that they tied everything together with, because it is a murder mystery show when it comes down to it, and I like that they focused on that this episode, and they had the brains kind of lend to her character, but she kept a lot of her core self, and we wrapped into a lot of what was going on with her personally, and I really enjoyed that. I'm hoping that will stay done, and we'll see about how secret their secret lives can be from here out. And there's enough characters going on that, like, hey, it would be really interesting. The most interesting thing at all is going to be Adam Monroe kidnapping the guy and how he's going to get information out of him, because friggity fraggity, I can't believe he zombified him to motivate him to get the cure. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a smart way to go. And once he has the cure, then he has something legitimate to offer people, like in return for services, and he won't be as afraid to go zombie again himself. It's it's very interesting. Fury of Firestorm. The whole episode was based on trying to find a replacement for Firestorm, and I can't believe that they haven't concentrated more on trying to get to the other side, because that Firestorm's got to be on the other side. So what happens when they finally recover him? You're going to have two compatible matches? What are they going to do with it? I don't know. I'm glad that they went the route of replacing him, or giving him someone else to work with, because the whole mesh thing seems silly. You should just be able to be one person. Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel is beating the shit out of DC in the cinematics with this one. Now, like, I love Simmons. Like, she is beautiful, like, in normal lighting, without anything. I love the smart, scientific character. This is a whole episode of her being on this other planet that doesn't have a lot of light. So with her skin and the clothes she's wearing, like, there's just a lot of low-level lighting that really gives not only very dramatic and powerful shots, emotionally or cinematically, but, like, it really puts her in a pretty light. So it's like, oh, look at that. And I love Simmons enough as a character that I'm like, yes, let's have a whole episode on her. We could make a Simmons show for all I care. And I know she's not the only one there, and, like, it's definitely about, like, what happens right before Fitz brings her back, so that's no spoiler. But, like, everything that's happening on the planet, the context that we get, is amazing. Like, just, like, you could make a whole show off of what happened to her on that planet. And they condensed it down to one episode. It's amazing. The only thing that tops that, the only thing is how they wrote in Fitz's reaction, because this is all her telling him what happened on the planet, anyways. Because, and we've seen it from Fitz, and we've seen it from them, that, like, he may or may not be the most responsive to everything, that he's obviously in love with Simmons, but he jumped right past all that, and he immediately was like, this is what she needs, and it's the right thing to do. We're going to bring the guy back. And I have a feeling like it's going to go badly afterwards, but Simmons is that good of a guy, of a hero, that, like, we'll deal with the awkwardness later. Let's do the right thing now. Love that episode. I may go watch it again after this. I'll be honest. Like, I really liked that episode, and I would love to see. I know there's movies like that. I'd love to see a movie that's similar to that again. Arrow's getting really interesting, because I was like we know that the White Canary is gonna be a thing, and I fucking hate that whole arc. But I'm glad they brought her back, because she was actually a good character. They had some weird effects with her curtain. That was really out of place a lot of time. But Laurel is, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm just not. But I like Sarah. But she's so crazy and out of her mind right now, she's not much of anything. She's just this plot point centered around Damien Dark, Captain Lance, and Laurel. And the whole suspense of it is ruined, because we know that she's coming back. Just do it already, is kind of the mindset that it's given me, because I don't want to wait anymore. It's like, I just want to have the good Canary back, and apparently they could use the help, but she damn well better go on her own storyline, trying to deal with the League of Assassins, which we've gotten way too close to, way too fast, and I'm honestly upset by this a lot. Oliver became Ra's al Ghul. He became the leader of the League of Assassins, and he gets put in some, like, really compromising positions by, like, some level 1 minion assholes, and it's like, no, he's like a level 100 character now, because you forced him way too fast into it. Like, there was this nice build-up of what he was, and because they keep flashing back to the island, you can't tell where it is. But, like, on the island, he was built up to a certain point, and then when he got back here, and he was trying to save the city as the Arrow, like, he was this gradual climb, and then things escalated. He needed help. He got all these buddies, and I think he plateaued a little bit, but God, did he jump once he started messing with the League of Assassins. And Slade's supposed to be a big part of that. That's my big thing. Is, like, that was, like, the whole thing in Batman with the Gotham and everything, is that the League of Assassins is supposed to be the top of the top. Batman was able to go into the League of Assassins, hold his own against some of them, not even, like, win against all of them, and get out alive. So he gets into bouts of Deathstroke occasionally, and he manages to get alive, but he doesn't necessarily always beat Deathstroke, because he's a smart guy. Like, if you watch Teen Titans or whatever, like, he's the main villain against them. They set him up really well for a lot of things, and so in order to keep the story going with him, he's got to be able to get away and be able to succeed him from time to time. And that's what makes these things great. The show's worrying too much about showing him winning, and it's not what the story's about. The story is about the battle, the uphill struggle of a normal guy fighting against the insurmountable odds. And I kind of liked it better when he was killing guys, I'll be honest, because Batman kind of had the other thing on lockdown. Muppets. What was this? Oh, what was that smell? What did you guys do? Jesus. Miss Piggy and Reese Witherspoon trying to go head to head for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but the whole thing was just built on alpha female dominance battle, and it got really ridiculous, as it does because it's Muppets. I'm sure there's a secondary storyline, but I cannot remember it other than we learned that it is bad to make fun of your girlfriend on stage unless she is okay with it. So pass your material by her in the first place, unless that's the agreement that she gets to never hear about it, which if you're ever successful, I would find quite hard. But possibly Ricky leaves Fozzie, and I hope not. But I want to see Kate Micucci come in. I don't think she has to date Fozzie too, but it would be nice to see her get involved. Supernatural. Spoilers, I don't think we saw anything from Amara. No, they did do something different with this. For whatever reason, they focused on the Impala for the storyline, because they did this weird thing where they split the party, and they do this in the show, but normally they just bounce back and forth between characters. In this, like, the camera follows the car the entire time, so that we go with a character and we continue with it until they meet back up again. And like, there's phone calls or whatever, but that's really brief, which is very interesting. And it's still kind of interesting to see that they've come across new monsters, because this actually is things that they don't recognize. And we're seeing the supernatural world react to their misgivings with the darkness. So it's a big setup episode. As much as there's a lot of action, it's a big setup episode for bigger things later on. Fresh off the boat, they do Halloween, and for whatever reason, the wife gets into some kind of weird battle with some local teenage boys on a rental property. And then Dad is super into Halloween for whatever reason. He actually pulls off a pretty good Mr. T, except he's got too nice a face. The middle. They actually wrapped the storylines in really good. There was a Brick and Dad go for trick-or-treating. Sue and Mom stay home to give out candy. There's a whole thing with the Glossners. And then there's Axel and the guys deciding of their own free will and volition to move out of the house. Really, really enjoyed the dynamic there. I liked the idea of Brick being able to see into his own future, and I really actually liked his voiceover, as if he really was who he dressed up with, the guy from Night Gallery and Twilight Zone, because I really like that sort of intro, and if I swear to God, if I can ever do it right, I'm going to do an intro for somebody for that, because I find that really entertaining. Casual, Mom shows up, she's a pain in the ass, they fucking have to deal with it until she goes away. That's really what it was. It wasn't a great episode. Here, and I hate time traveling because I believe in the one timeline. But Hero makes it so much fun, and he's super into not stepping on butterflies anymore. So he doesn't just go in willy-nilly. He actually does the research, and they go back to stop the bombing on June 13th, and spoilers, they choose not to, which is insanity. We get a lot of good information about what was going on with Bennett and I can't remember her name, Natalie something, the woman in charge, and how everything went down. So I'm really curious how everything happens and how Hero thinks that this can't be the best solution to save everyone there and get the resources necessary to make the world a better place later. But he's got to not play God too. That's the big thing, is that he could fix every single problem in the entire world if he just spent the time stopping to do it. But shit, he'd be an old man in 5 minutes worth for the world's problems, you know? You gotta stay down. You gotta stay down. I don't remember where I came across it. I think it was just one of those Hulu recommends things. But I got a call from work, so I had to work on some things. So while I was there, I wanted to be able to stop or start or whatever. So I started watching some anime. I got into Shimoneta, a boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist. The whole premise is that it's kind of a future where or it's very Fahrenheit 43 or Demolition Man if you need a cinematic reference. They've determined that like lewd behavior is unhealthy, so they actually have collars and wrist devices that tell everybody or report whether or not you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing. And so it's a very censored world to the point where the students at this high school don't understand what sex is. So there are terrorists or arrow terrorists that will educate people at random in public disturbances, or they'll distribute naked photos or comics or all sorts of things like that. And so the people who are interested flock in droves to find it out. And they're obviously not, the people are not for the system. So we've got the trope of having a domineering system overriding the will of the people. So in theory, eventually the will of the people will win out because the people will become the system, and then they'll shut it down. But for the moment, we've got this really confusing time in everybody's life where apparently a generation or two is drastically overreacted. And we're going to see it, the revolution happen, because that's what happens when you do that. And this is pretty amazing. It's full of craziness. I've caught myself several times just going like, what is happening in the show? It's really interesting to see how they go about it, because like the most repressed are the people most likely to act out once they're introduced to these things, and this show is very true of that. To the point where it's scary. I really love it, but and then part of me sympathizes for the guy, but it's not a harem anime. It's like someone used this term of reverse harem, and they used it in the meaning that it's a bunch of it's a girl with a bunch of guys that like her, as opposed to a guy that has a bunch of girls. And then to me, it's just harem. Reverse anime would be where like one person is trying to hook up with all these people, and that's not accurate either, because there is a harem, but it's not on the main character. There's this one character that everyone kind of wants to get with, but he wanted to get with her, and then like given the opportunity, he doesn't, because with the morality principles explained in the show, it goes against everything he likes about her. So he actually likes the non-moral person more, and it's so confusing because he's unwilling to act on any of it. It's like you can just yell at the screen for him to bang somebody forever, but who knows where that's gonna go. I wish there was a season 2 or a wrap up or something for that, but after getting through season 1, I think I'm left wanting. Real quick, Last Man Standing Halloween. Kyle dresses up like Ed. That's the most entertaining part of all of it. There's a prank war between husbands and wives, which is cute. Whatever. It's a funny show, but it's not the most memorable episode. Undateable, however, Danny's walking around in a centaur outfit and hooks up with another centaur person. Shelly's dressed up as Winnie the Pooh. Leslie Steve Jobs. Dude is Jewish Wolverine. Like, come on. Like, really, you had to spin it that way, but I guess they did. But the whole thing's centered about, like, the concept of being too romantic or too attentive. So what's that line between being romantic and considerate and smothering? Which is actually a really good question, but like there was actually very little discussion thereof or answers. It was really just, hey, I got a problem, and like I'll work on that. And maybe that is the answer. That's all you can do, really. Meta. Grim came back with a fury. I'm super looking forward to this season. This is a show that I will admit that I watched originally and mostly for Bree Turner, who plays the Foxbow, the were-fox lady. But over last season, they really amped it up. They got a lot of intensity going with the Juliet storyline, which I found more interesting. They wrapped it up rather poorly, in my opinion, but it looks like that they're revisiting it and that there's actually going to be some good things coming out of it. I don't like the idea of putting her in the fridge, but I'm hoping that there's something that we're missing, and we're going to see that come up here soon, because it looks like we're going to war, essentially. The Royals look like a small matter in comparison to what's happening so far after this first episode. Enough that I don't want to spoil the first episode. I'll talk about more next week, maybe. But I'm really looking forward to him being less crazy and getting some more actual answers out of it. Once Upon a Time, it's a very Merida episode. It's actually called Bear and the Bow. I don't understand why we got to bring the bear back into it. That's supposed to be something that's there and done. The whole thing with why she's not queen or king of the clans, whatever you want to call it, is very confusing to me. The clan's taking her brothers hostage. Doesn't make a lot of sense. And it would seem that like their clan and her brothers would stand and fight against the other clans that tried to kidnap him. So there's a lot of plot holes. But the storyline with the Dark One trying to use her heart to get Rumple to be a hero and do the thing is the main storyline. It's very interesting. There's lots of discussions there about what's what. And I'm going to spoil it. Spoilers. He pulls the goddamn sword for her. The deal was that he pulled the sword, not that he gave it to her. So I have no idea why he would actually give it to her. Or why he would be so damn cocky just because he knows how the Dark One works. He should know that there's still a thing. In the flashback timeline, we still don't know what the fuck happened to Merlin. We just know that he's more involved with Emma than we thought. So I'm willing to bet that like Emma absorbed him somehow. All right, if you can't behave, take your fluffy butt over there. I reset over here. I appreciate her. Okay, so with that, I had a little bit of space. I wanted to look at a couple things. There's something called God Eater that showed up on recommendations that I was like, what the fuck are you? So I went and looked at it, and it's invading aliens like in an apocalyptic style world. It's kind of like Attack on Titan. Everyone's walled themselves in these cities. There's monsters that are coming in to try to kill everyone. And so the solution apparently is to give everybody little bracelets that let them control these weapons called God Arcs or whatever. And apparently you can psychically transform them or command them or whatever the hell. So it's all about killing these yokai or whatever the fuck they are, Amariga. And it was very action heavy, and like this first episode is very much setting up for everything, but I didn't really enjoy the style or the animation itself or anything. It's like I needed more and I just didn't get it, so I don't think I'm going to continue on with that one. Future Diary sounded so goofy. I was hoping that like I'd get a more lighthearted Steins Gate, which is actually pretty entertaining or funny in general as it is. So maybe my hopes were too high. This is really serious. This is like murder mystery. Like, oh, we have to survive type thing. So I watched the first episode of that, and then I think I fell asleep in the second episode. I could be wrong, because I'm looking at the the thumbnail and I don't remember that character. So I may have to rewatch that one, honestly. But the it's very, if you think about Hunger Games, it's the idea of teaming up to be stronger. Uh, sorry, the cats are like playing peekaboo underneath the monitor. It's very interesting. Um, so I look forward to that one, but I don't know like what veracity I'm gonna watch that one, because it's not lighthearted and fun like I kind of like my anime, but it's interesting enough that I definitely want to see it through, just to see if it's just fucking crazy or if it's actually worth the effort. Minority Report. I don't know what the point of this episode was. I think it was maybe to show Dash and Arthur and how deep Arthur's world goes. I don't know. Arthur does some bad shit. Dash gets blamed/involved. Vega and Arthur have to team up together to save Dash. Arthur, turns out that his bad stuff actually had like a really good lining to it. I'm hoping that we take it somewhere in the next episode. There was definitely some allusions that centering on Vega, there'd be another story arc coming up. Crazy ex-girlfriend, like, she put her some pics and stuff out about with her in like a tiger leotard or whatever the hell you want to call this. And like, you want to see what this is about, whatever. And I think she still looks good, but I think the point was to put her in something crazy and make it like not look good. And there were actually some underwear type things where I'm like, oh wow, you actually are looking really good there. It's actually a really cute like lingerie thing, and they put these lights over her so you can't see it, which is fine because that's not the point to get off watching her. It's done for humor purposes and artistic purposes, and I get that. Her boobs are kind of like hand in hand with her jokes. And if you watch a lot of her physical humor, like, you'll see that. And it's, as long as it's funny, it's good. That seems to be the rule. But I was really hoping that we were going to take a positive turn, and the episode was all about being healthier and making healthy choices. And we see her actually turn away from the bad choices to turn to something good and something real and something potential. And of course it all goes horribly wrong, because if it went well, then we wouldn't have a show anymore, would it? But it's all about how it goes badly, and the fact that she poisoned probably the best thing she had going on there, other than her friend at work. I will give her that, because that's probably her healthiest friend, and her healthy friend was actually gave her some very interesting advice. Be like, look, the time's too short. You have to enjoy life how you can and get what's good out of it now. And so they were eating donuts together. That's what it was. But that's probably the worst of the four shows, but I still think it's pretty good. And like, the music's really good. Like, the even the Settle For Me thing was pretty good. And as weird and goofy as the sexy song was, I actually really like that. He definitely puts work into it. And like, the music videos, really, you could pull those out and make YouTube videos out of them. I think that it's done with that purpose in mind. And I've not been checking on her channel, but I think if you go over youtube.com/RachelDoesStuff, those should be showing up there. Maybe, I don't know for sure. I apparently have some things to do here, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. I'm sure this has been running quite long enough. But thank you for watching. If you've been watching this far, that's it. So until you see me next time, I am Kamurai, and that's not the right ending. So have a nice day. No, do the thing. If you want to see anything else we're up to, go and click the annotations and it'll take you to our other channels. Thanks for watching.